New York. He
Yeah,
wasn't that good.
He's not top 5 in points of all time. Yeah,
That doesn't mean anything. You play long enough, you're going to be top 5 in something. Shit.
Is he top 5 in rings of all time?
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. Rings, possibly, for a player, yeah.
How many did he win with the Rangers?
1.
How many did Henrique win with the Rangers?
0.
How many stints does he have in his heart?
3.
All right, guys, welcome to You Watch, I Listen's Yankee playoff breakdown. Guys, what do you think is going to happen to the Yankees in the postseason?
I think that they're going to go out and get Theo Epstein.
Theo isn't going anywhere because he wants to own a team. That's what's funny about it.
I think the Yankees they got a good chance against Tampa.
What was that?
I think the Yankees have a good chance against Tampa in the upcoming series.
Are you guys not as mad anymore?
No,
I forget what it is.
That's why I'm so invested in this hockey right now, is because this is all I have. Now I can watch the Rangers lose for a whole season.
I really thought the Yankees were going to win last night. Even if Cole struggled, I wasn't expecting him to put up 2 runs. Like when they took Evaldi out after 5 1/3, I was like, oh, this is exactly what you want. And just nothing.
They didn't draw. I don't think they drew a walk yesterday.
Well, their approach at the plate was, Evaldi's the best strike thrower in the league. Like he pounds the zone, he gets ahead in the count. So being aggressive early on is the right thing to do because you're getting strikes and you can get something to drive. But by the 3rd inning, when you're behind and you're still not making hard contact, you got to change the approach. I mean, the Yankees were the least aggressive team at the plate all season. They came out aggressive, change it and work the count. But then they did get to the pen early and they couldn't do anything with it. It was and I don't think Boone's going anywhere. And I don't know. It's just, roster reconstruction maybe, but Boone I don't think is going anywhere. They'll give him 2 years, I think. 2-year contract.
Yep.
And frankly, again, if it's Cashman still there, he's just going to pick another manager that isn't going to have any say. But again, that kind of contradicts the whole point that if you get rid of Boone and we think he's a puppet, what's the difference then? You know what I mean?
What the fuck are the Mets going to do this season?
Dude, a million different things. I have no idea, but I think it's going to be outside of Alonso, Lindor, and DeGrom. I don't know. It's
how come you're the fucking Yankee expert now?
Because the Yankees have been more relevant this season, and I've always been this way. See, this is the difference between you and me. You can't objectively break down your team, and you can't stand someone that isn't a fan of your team breaking them down. When I'm not being brutal or biased or anything, and I root for the Yankees like 9 times out of 10, and you know that.
You're being Shane Baez right now.
Who the fuck is Shane Baez?
Isn't he like a pitcher or something?
Javier Baez?
No, Shane Baez.
On what team?
Probably Tampa.
Probably. Tampa has a bunch of guys no one's ever heard of, and then they leave Tampa, and they like Blake Snell.
All right, you guys keep talking about baseball. I'm going to go get a charger real quick.
All right, we'll keep talking about baseball. Josh, so A-Rod, what were your thoughts on him last night?
A-Rod can go fuck himself right now.
Yeah, do you know why he was particularly brutal?
Well, so I'm gonna guess, and I hate if this is it, that they gave Gallo his number.
Dude, that's what it is because A-Rod is a little man. He's a small man, and you put all your stock as your favorite Yankee to a guy that is a Mets fan his whole life, and just like you're putting your stock in a Judge who is a Red Sox fan.
Oh, shut up! Who cares? I don't care. Listen, I don't care about stuff like that in sports of who was a fan of what team before they became a professional. But these guys are paid. These guys are paid. These guys are contracted. It doesn't matter.
You don't care, but when they were going after Garrett Cole, you were one of the cocksuckers making sure to spread that picture of him and the little kid at Yankee Stadium. So you do care a little bit. It's got to irk you a little bit seeing Judge wearing a Red Sox shirt.
No, it doesn't. It does not bother me.
Manfro, comment?
Yeah, Aaron Judge is cool.
But he's a Red Sox fan.
Oh, well, that's why he didn't fucking hit 3 home runs last night.
He hit an infield single. All right, guys. So we're in week 5 of the 2021 NFL season. Manfro, you were in first place last week. Where do you think you are this week?
Third place.
Third place is correct. You went 8-8 to stand at 38-26, a respectable record right now. Josh, what place are you in?
I'm going to guess that I'm still in second.
Second, 39-25 after going 10-6. I am in first at 41-23 after going 12-4. Really, it was the swing games for us here where I took both Seattle and Arizona over the Rams, and that was really what swung it. That's where we went different. I was the only one that took the Chargers too. over the Raiders. So those were the big swing games. So interesting stuff happening. Stephon Gilmore traded today, originally announced released, going to the Carolina Panthers. Already pretty good defense, but they need to improve with the loss of Christian McCaffrey. So the defense needs to be even better. Justin Fields officially named the starter going forward after having a really good second game as a player. And how's the Falcons defense? Thoughts, Josh? You didn't have to watch them on TV this week, which must have been nice.
Yeah, they went ahead and they lost like I knew they would. They suck all around. They suck. They're not good. They have like 3 good players on the team. It is what it is.
Matt Ryan's last season with the Falcons.
No, I still don't think so.
Okay, this is why I think it's plausible. If they're doing a rebuild, by the time they're ready to compete, he's done. Like, he's got maybe 2 good years left. Let's be realistic. 2 good years, maybe 1 or 2 more solid years after.
You know what? It's hard to say because you could see you see quarterbacks playing into their late 30s, early 40s.
How old is he
these
now?
days. He's 36.
You do, but you also see them hit walls generally around age 38.
It depends. Look, if you look at look at Eli Manning as an example. He hit his wall at 38.
Yeah,
and he was similar to Matt Ryan. He never really had a great offensive line in front of him.
Well,
down the stretch of his career,
wasn't that
he's always running around.
Well, and he beat the Patriots twice.
Matt Ryan.
Fucking dickhead.
Well, the Packers look awesome, which is great for you, Michael. I'm very happy about that.
Yep, they look good.
I like how, it's funny. I've always liked Aaron Rodgers, but I kind of like him more now that he's pissed everyone off. Like people have an irrational hate for the guy.
Taylor was just putting a bunch of hateful Matt Ryan comments on the stream, so I blocked him. I didn't block him from viewing. He can still see this. I put him in timeout.
He was definitely mad that all of us picked against the Broncos last week. They lost to the Ravens because they played a bunch of bum teams.
Oh, that 4 yards that fucking Harbaugh got at the end. That was grimy.
That wasn't grimy. That wasn't grimy because I watched the
dick move.
It was funny because I think you generally should play whistle to whistle unless you're up by 40 points and you're still trying to score touchdowns. And even then, it doesn't bother me that much.
Harbaugh's response was great, though. He's like, I never heard of a 10-point touchdown or whatever he said.
Yeah. And I mean, there was when I saw what Fangio said, I thought about when the Broncos played the Dolphins last year. 2 seconds left on the clock, and he has Drew Lock bombing it down the field for a 40-yard completion. So Vic Fangio, chill out. Come on, you guys are 3-1. I still think they're probably the 3rd best team in the division. Say what you will about the Chiefs defense. They're a better offense by any standard. Chargers look good. Raiders look good. I think the Raiders are going to come back down to earth a little bit. But why don't we get started? So Thursday night, the Los Angeles Rams coming off the loss to the Cardinals and the Seahawks coming off the win over the 49ers. Seahawks are a half-point underdog at home. Now, the Seahawks suffered a loss this week in the running game. Chris Carson is most likely out with a neck injury. So the Seahawks kind of one-dimensional offense is going to be even more one-dimensional. Rams being half-point favorites on the road. If you remember the Sam Bradford years with the Rams, didn't they always give the Seahawks hell? Even when the Rams were dog shit and Jeff Fisher was the coach, they were always beating those really good Legion of Boom teams. They just matched up well with them. And a lot of those same components are there. And the Seahawks defense isn't very good. The Rams, I think, have a nice bounce-back game here. The half point on the road is super intriguing as a bettor. I would go all in on that. I think the Rams win by at least a touchdown here. Big game from Stafford. Big game. The first big game that you'll see from Robert Woods, who has kind of disappeared in the Matthew Stafford-led offense. But give me the Rams and the points.
Yeah, I'll take the Rams in that one.
Josh.
I hate picking against the Seahawks, especially when they're at home, but I got to go Rams.
Yeah, I don't know, man. The Seahawks, they beat the 49ers, but I don't think the 49ers are that good. I was exciting to see Trey Lance in there, but there's something about the 49ers. And the Rams look really good, but what I saw from the Rams on Sunday in the loss to the Cardinals, is the same thing whether it was Jared Goff or Matt Stafford, is that they cannot take a punch in the mouth. You know, Belichick exposed that. Belichick and Brian Flores exposed that in the Patriots-Rams Super Bowl, that when, you know, you get up in the middle of their face, the McVay offense isn't as dynamic. And you saw that come from Arizona, who can really get after it. So I do like him here because Seattle can't really get after it at all. All right, Josh, next, it's your game. The New York Jets coming off their first win of the season, the first win of Zach Wilson's young, likely mediocre career. Taking on your Atlanta Falcons. The Falcons coming off the late loss to the Washington football team. The Falcons are 3.5-point favorites at home. Josh, your team, go.
Well, this is a toss-up game because it's not really a home game. This is a London game, so even though the Falcons are credited as the home team, it's kind of like a weird type of exhibition game, if you will. I'm still going to take the Falcons here, though, because I think that the Jets are worse than the Giants and the football team, and the Falcons stayed in the game late against football teams, so I'm sticking with the Falcons just based on how bad the Jets are.
Fair. Yeah, I had a hard time with this one because the Falcons defense is horrific and they're kind of a one-dimensional offense. I haven't really seen Kyle Pitts get going yet. By the way, the Falcons did themselves a favor getting rid of Julio Jones because I don't know if this is a surprise to anyone, but he's hurt. But what you saw from the Jets last week playing the Falcons, or the Titans rather, they played a really one-dimensional Titans team. When Ryan Tannehill got sacked 7 times. The Jets defense actually played pretty well this year. Bryce Hall at corner has not given up a touchdown yet this season. He's giving up about 30 yards passing per game when targeted. But the Falcons do have more weapons than the Titans had. The Titans had a bunch of receivers you never heard of. Some really bad coaching from Vrabel down the stretch. And Zach Wilson made some big plays. I think this will end up being a shootout. I'm going to take the Falcons. I would stay away from the 3.5 though. I think it's gonna be like one of those like 1-2 score games, late field goal kind of thing, but I'll take the Falcons. Is this really in London? Because it says it's a 1 p.m. start. Are they starting later?
When I checked, it said it was a 9:30 start.
Oh, maybe this one hasn't been updated, but I thought it was a London game for sure. Whatever. Yeah, I'm going to take the Falcons. Michael.
I'm going to take.
Yeah, it is London. I just checked
so
it.
9:30.
The New York Falcons.
You're taking the Jets.
No, I'm taking the Falcons.
Yeah, Wilson looked pretty good. I mean, he's got a hell of an arm, and after a rough first half, he came to life. Corey Davis, who looked horrific in the first half and has been horrific most of the season, played much better. So I might change my pick on this one. I don't want to pick the Jets, but that Falcons defense is really hard to think that they can stop anyone.
If you're going to change your pick, you got to clear it up with us.
Oh, no, I would tell you guys before kickoff. All right, Michael, your team, the Green Bay Packers, the rolling Green Bay Packers right now, taking on the Cincinnati Bengals, the 3-1 Cincinnati Bengals, one of the surprises of the early part of the season. The Packers are 3.5-point favorites on the road. Your team, your pick.
Packers are going to go down 10-0 in the first, and then they're going to come back and win 27-13.
27-13. Okay, I like the prediction. I'm also going to take the Packers here. The Bengals fell behind 14-0 to the Jaguars. It should have been at least 17-0, if not for Urban Meyer making one of his rare mistakes he makes as a head coach in the NFL, deciding not to kick a field goal and went with a run up the middle with Trevor Lawrence from the half-inch line. Just terrible coaching, kind of bailed out the Bengals, and to their credit, they rallied back, won the game on a late field goal. But the Packers are looking really good right now. The defense is starting to play a lot better. They did lose Darius Smith, which is a massive, massive loss in the pass rush, the linebacking core. But they're the better team. They're the better coach team overall.
They just got Jalen Smith, though. They're fine.
Did they actually sign Jalen Smith?
Yeah, he's going through the physical right now.
Okay, keep your fingers crossed there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm going to take the Packers, and I'm going to take the 3.5.
Josh?
Oh, I didn't realize you went already. I'm going to take the Packers also.
Yeah, it's his team. Of course he went first. All right. The next game is the Detroit Lions, who we all took last week to beat the Bears, and they laid an egg. Once I saw that it was raining, I wanted to change my pick because Jared Goff and it doesn't have NFL starting quarterback hands. He's got like middle school quarterback hands, and he can't hold the ball in the rain. Did you see that fumble or interception where it got snapped to him?
And it bounced off of him
into the Bears line or defensive lineman's hands. That was stunning. But they played tough still. Now this line is crazy to me. They're picking on the Vikings, who lost to the Browns in a game where I think the point total was 62, and it ended up being a 14-11 game. So take the under there. The Vikings are 8.5-point favorites at home in a divisional game. I'm taking the Vikings here, but not confidently. I don't know. The Lions aren't going to go 0-17. They're gonna luck into one. They're playing ugly football, which I like. And the Vikings are playing ugly football too. I'd stay away from that 8.5. I love the Lions to cover the 8.5 actually. So I'm taking the Vikings, but give me the Lions to cover.
I'm taking the Vikings as well. I think Kirk Cousins has been slanging the ball. I think you could find Jefferson and Thielen. It's a fucking nice 1-2 he's got there.
Yeah.
And he even finds his tight ends once in a while. Like he's got a lot of weapons, and I mean, there's no reason why Kirk Cousins can't be competent enough to beat the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, that's about the kind of teams he's competent enough to beat on a consistent basis for sure. Josh.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Vikings. It's hard to fathom how a team could just be so bad for ever.
It's really unfortunate. My buddy Steve is a huge Lions fan, and just they had a couple of years there with Sue and Nick Farley, and when what's his name, the Jim Schwartz was the head coach, and they looked decent. He had Megatron, obviously, and it's just I don't know what it is, but it doesn't work. I don't know why or what. I will love the day that the Lions are good, like what you're seeing from the Browns now. I'll be very happy to see that. Because in our lifetime, we've seen a couple decent seasons, and that's about it.
Not I. I hope they're never good.
Of course you do. It's like me. Like I never want to see the Jets good. Like it hurts me seeing the Bills being a good team because the Bills are known for one thing in the history of NFL, and it's not drunken morons jumping through tables. It's not Jim Kelly, anything. It's losing. Like that's the Bills' history. It's losing 4 straight Super Bowls. It's the Music City Miracle. Like they're known for these dramatic losses and nothing else. So as long as they're not winning, I'll be very, very happy. Like they can get to the playoffs all they want. If they continue to not win Super Bowls, I'm thrilled because their history will still be losing. No one remembers making the playoffs when you lost 4 straight Super Bowls. The worst thing you could be in the NFL is a 2-time, 3-time, 4-time losing Super Bowl head coach. All right, so we all took the Vikings there. Next game, the Denver Broncos coming off their first loss of the season to the Baltimore Ravens, taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers and the worst quarterback in the NFL in Big Ben Roethlisberger, who looks shot. Now, what is shocking here to me, as of just a couple hours ago, the Steelers are a 0.5-point favorite at home over the Broncos. Now, I guess there's some concerns about the health of Teddy Bridgewater. He left the game with a concussion. Wasn't playing too great before that against a good, not great Ravens defense. Steelers defense playing pretty well with the return of T.J. Watt. I do like the Broncos here just because what I've seen from the Steelers isn't at all encouraging. Their defense, again, looks solid, but they haven't been able to get Najee Harris going because the offensive line is terrible. Juju Smith-Schuster is not a good receiver. He's a 3. Maybe a 2 if you have a true number 1 there. But he hasn't done shit since he lost Antonio Brown. He's not a guy I want to pay big money, and he's already been a distraction. I do think that this will end up being Tomlin's first losing season as a head coach. But, as long as Ben is the starting quarterback, I think he's going to be holding them back and continuing to. I don't know if you saw that video of him just falling on his face trying to roll out because he can't move anymore. I feel bad for the guy because he's an all-timer.
He's like the Tin Man. He's had his fucking both of his knees reconstructed like fucking 12 times.
I mean, you think about his prime, like he used to take beatings and he'd be standing up in the pocket and he would just bounce off and then sling it downfield, and now he can't even move. It sucks to see.
After he retires, he won't be able to walk anymore.
Yeah, that may save some women from some bad situations at a bar. But I do like the Broncos here. I like their defense here. I love their running game. And I think that you're going to continue to see big things from if Teddy's healthy, I think he's going to keep playing well against an inferior Pittsburgh Steelers team. So give me the Broncos.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
It's a tough one.
I'm gonna take Pittsburgh on this one. I think that Tomlin going to bat for Big Ben is gonna endear him to actually have a good game. Deontay Johnson is fucking awesome, and like that was one of the first receivers I picked up. I picked him up 2 rounds than what he was projected, and he's fucking been money for me so far. And I think he's going to continue to do that. And I just think Najee Harris is starting to get in there, and he's starting to run a little bit. I think he can have a big game. I think they can pull the covers off the Broncos. I think that Big Ben's going to have a decent game. If Teddy Bridgewater starts, I might change my pick, but
all right. I mean, listen, this was a tough one for me too because I don't think the Broncos are great, but I think they're good. It's just Ben is shot. That's what sucks. Yeah. But Josh,
I think it depends a lot on if Teddy plays or not. I really like the way the Broncos look this year. The Steelers, I just think look just not great overall. I'm going to take the Broncos, unconvinced, but I'm going to stick with them as my pick.
All right. Next game is my dog shit team, the Miami Dolphins taking on Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Bucs coming off the win in Foxborough, where that game, all the hype around it, that was a fucking boring game. That game stunk.
To try to kick a 50, like everybody's like, oh, the kicker shanked it. To hit a 56-yard field goal when it's dry in a dome is tough. To do it and even come close as that kicker did.
This is what's crazy is, we could say he shanked it all we want, but even if he made it, right, Belichick would have leaving Tom Brady like 48 seconds on the clock and with a 2-point lead. So it was a dumb decision. And this is what I think is you're seeing happen with Belichick is that now that he doesn't have that, ace in the hole, not that, everyone knew what Tom Brady was, he's playing more conservative. I mean, his game has always been as a head coach is don't make mistakes and have the other team beat you. You rarely saw Belichick coach teams do it. It's why they rarely lost back-to-back games, let alone 3 games in a row. And that to me was a guy that was playing like, okay, we just got to take the points rather than say, I'm going to step on your fucking throat. And, a 56-yard field goal, like you said, is not easy in a dome for a veteran, let alone, in the rain with a guy like that. Miami obviously pissed me off against a hobbled Colts team. Jacoby Brissett he was always a competent guy. Then I watch him I saw at least 4 plays where Jalen Waddle's open like 20 yards downfield and he checks down. Like he's holding the ball too long, but the offensive play calling isn't very good. The defense every game has hung until the second half and then they're exhausted. I'm gonna pick against Miami until Tua's back because I've seen the difference when Tua's on the team and when Jacoby Brissett is back there, and just the way the offense moves is completely different. So I am picking against the Dolphins until they come back. The line is 10.5 for Tampa. Tampa has one of the worst pass defenses in the league, and they're going against a Dolphins defense that is underperformed a bit, but they're better than what they look like. And no running game either is a problem. So I'm going to take Tampa, but Miami will cover the 10.5.
Yeah, I'm going to take Tampa too. Tampa's good. They got good shit going.
The reason I think it'll be, covered is because what you saw with Belichick doing to Brady, confusing him, getting to him. Brian Flores was part of that too. And the games that Brian Flores has coached against Tom Brady when he was at the Patriots, obviously different weapons here in Tampa, but the scheme is the same. You attack Tom Brady up the middle. It's been that way forever. That's how you beat him. You do the same thing. So I think it'll be a low scoring game overall. Josh.
You got to take Tampa.
Yeah, you'd be stupid not to. All right. Next game, the New Orleans Saints coming off their loss to the New York Football Giants, taking on the Washington Football Team. Really interesting game here because the Saints have had, they've kind of done this like hot cold thing where one game they look like champions, the next game they look like a non-playoff team, champions, non-playoff team. Washington, for all things considered here, with what we thought about what their defense was going to be, has to be among the most disappointing performances in the season to this point because the defense has been terrible, like terrible. The Saints are a half-point favorite on the road right now. I'm going to go with the pattern that I've seen from the Saints, the hot, cold, hot, cold. I think this is a week they bounce back hot. I think the defense steps up big against Washington, forces at least 2 Heineke turnovers. So give me the Saints to win by at least 10 points.
Yeah, I'm actually going against that. I'm going to take Washington. Antonio Gibson is starting to come around.
Yeah, sure is. He's awesome.
But, he only had like a receiving touchdown until last week. He got into the end zone and had some scrimmage yards too. So I think Ron Rivera is going to have a good game plan for him defensively. I think that Washington can pull this one off. I think the Saints, they fucking shit whip the Packers. So props to them for that. But Jameis Winston's he's not showing you, he's showing you flashes of greatness, but
well, it doesn't help that the Saints receiving
three and outs with them, consistent 3 and outs, and then to do that against the Giants.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we talked about it last week. The Giants were a couple plays away from being 2-1 going into that game. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter. You blew it. It's not like they were getting the doors beat off from the Giants. They were making bad mistakes and giving up leads, and just it's not, like I said, they weren't playing like the Jets were to that point. Not all 0-3s are created the same. You know what I mean?
And I need to go different so I can come back and take first place back.
Yeah, that's true. But I said to you guys last week when we were talking about it that the Giants, even when the Saints were really good with Breeze, always seemed to give the Saints hell. And I wish I went with my gut on that, picking that game. But regardless, yeah, Josh.
Yeah, so I think if you look at it this way, the Falcons beat the Giants beat the Saints. Therefore, the Falcons are better than the Saints. Jameis Winston is who I thought he was. He sucks ass. I'm going with the Washington football team.
Yeah. Fuck you, Dan.
All I'm going to say is when you two guys picked against me last week in 3 different games, you went 0-3.
Fuck you, Dan.
Remember, you listen to me, you go to the top. You don't listen to me, you never heard from again. The Philadelphia Eagles suck, facing off with the Carolina Panthers. Panthers taking their first loss of the season. The Panthers are 4.5-point favorites at home. No Stephon Gilmore yet. Fine, whatever. Eagles don't look good. It's over. It's the little run. They're already back in the Deshaun Watson trade rumor mill. The Panthers didn't look great either. I have some real concerns offensively with them. Even with Christian McCaffrey coming back, I would still have concerns because I think it's fair to say at this point that Christian McCaffrey can't be counted on for 16 games. The way he's built, it's not made for a long career. We've seen guys like him where they have a couple insane seasons, and then it's done. Regardless, the Panthers being 4.5-point favorites, I do like them to win the game. I don't like them to cover the 4.5, despite how bad I think the Eagles are. The Eagles are bad. They're really bad. This is a head coach that looks like he's in over his head after having a really good week 1. The Panthers defense is really good. It's a really, really good defense. The best first half defense in the league. It'll be enough to overcome the Eagles, but I think that the Eagles end up covering that 4.5. So give me the Panthers and the Eagles to cover.
Yeah, I'm taking the Panthers. Christian McCaffrey is Danny Woodhead with more highlights, basically.
He's a bit of a better runner between the tackles than Woodhead was.
Yeah, and just the natural ability of Christian McCaffrey, but him out, I don't know. I see the Panthers rolling.
All right, Josh.
Yeah, I'm taking the Panthers here.
All right. Next game, the Tennessee Titans coming off the loss to the Jets. Taking on the Houston Texans, the Texans who have been since beating the Jaguar. Oh, sorry, I read the game wrong. Titans are taking on the Jaguars. I went down a game. The Jaguars have lost 19 straight games going back to their 1-0 start last season. The next loss will be third all time in losing streaks in NFL history. I think it's something like that. The Titans are only 3.5-point favorites because we don't know the health of AJ Brown, and this is why I wasn't in favor of them.
Shit!
What are you watching, hockey or wrestling?
Yeah, no, hockey. Kreider just took down Subban again for the second time, and Subban won't drop the glove, so he just fucking tackled him. Yeah, fuck yeah.
See, that's typical Rangers. They can't win a championship, so they play dirty. Anyway,
dirty shit.
Listen, you just told me a guy did a dirty play, so
no, Subban did the dirty play.
No, it's frustration from '94 Nevermore. So So the Titans are 3.5-point favorites. The Jaguars have lost 19 straight, and now we got all this Urban Meyer shit going on, which is fucking really funny and it's really out there. How much longer do you think Urban Meyer lasts as the head coach of the Jaguars?
The end of the season.
You think he's going to make it through the end of the season?
Yeah.
Josh?
Sorry. What?
No, I want you to guess. You have to guess the question now.
Somebody's going to make it through the season. Urban Meyer, no.
Okay. How much longer do you think he lasts?
Not much, dude. Maybe 3 more weeks, I guess.
So what's crazy is on Monday he addressed the team, right, about the whole video thing. And then another video comes out from the same thing and they had addressed the team again. Like, this is a guy that couldn't handle losing in college and he always had health issues. And in college football, it's easy to get away with some of the things he did. You know, they had 40 arrests on those Florida Gator teams between his players that he hit. He had his, I think it was his defensive coordinator on Ohio State beating his wife, and then Urban Meyer lied about knowing it until the text messages came out. And you can get away with that because college is you have guys for 2 years and you're like, all right, we're going to cover it up and let him go win. We win. He's an unbelievable college coach, undoubtedly, just like Nick Saban, unbelievable college coach. Couldn't hack it in the NFL, but he lost the locker room in preseason. When's the last time you could think of that a rookie head coach lost his team before the season even started?
Well, no, this is what's going to happen. They're going to come back. Tim Tebow's going to sign, and they're going to fucking win out.
Well, that was the other thing. Like, the team wasn't happy that he signed Tebow because it's like, this dude hasn't played in years and you sign him for a position he's never played.
Yeah. Brandon Jacobs like, I'm going to come out of retirement and play defensive end. I'm like, yeah, right.
He would have had a better shot at that than Tebow did at playing tight end. And it's not a knock on Tebow because I admire the fact that he came back and, tried to pick up a position that he never played before.
So if you told me that Tebow was coming back as a tight end, I'd say you're fucking out of your mind. If you told me he was coming back as like a fullback, I might believe it more because then you can use him as a utility guy. You could fucking run some fucking crazy offense. You can get him passing the ball, maybe.
That's how it should have been. An H-back. A true H-back.
And because not a lot of teams run with fullbacks, like actual fullbacks.
No, it's like the 49ers formation.
So, but if you told me that, I would believe it. But the fact that, the Jaguars would have had, a fucking a media crisis if they fucking signed Tebow over so many players who were sitting, in training camps who were actually good tight ends.
Yeah, I mean, it's just crazy. And then that's just, the beginning of it. So he drafted a running back in the first round. What's his name? Travis Etienne, who... when you have James Robinson, who was pretty damn good for you last year, and, you take another offensive weapon, whatever, but then he gets hurt. So waste. Then you actually have the balls to say that it is a QB competition between the first overall pick and Trevor Lawrence and Gardner Minshew. And you actually didn't just say this. You split up valuable first team reps between the two. And then you shipped Minshew off to the Eagles for a 6th-round pick. And then you go out there and you say, we're going to cut players based on their vaccination status when you have the 3rd lowest vaccination status in the league, to the point that the league investigates you. You had practices that weren't allowed. You got fined $200,000. And this is before the first preseason game of his NFL career. And I've seen so many other players say this, former players, current players, that they can never think of a time that the head coach should not travel back with them after a game, win, lose, whatever. That's unacceptable.
Did you see that Trubisky is going to get the MVP of last year?
When he won the Nickelodeon one, Mitch Trubisky?
Yeah, they said that the fact that he won any games with the Bears proves that he's an actual real quarterback.
I mean, it's true. But anyway, the Titans lost to the Jets. Jaguars continue to lose. A lot's going to depend here on the health of Julio and A.J. Brown. Julio, that's why I didn't love it for them, because if he's supposed to be your number 2, you can't rely on him to play 16 games. And we're already seeing that. And even when he's been on the field, he doesn't look like he's got too much left. But despite that, the Jaguars are imploding due to their incompetent head coach. Give me the Titans and give me the 3.5.
Who's Bueller again?
The Jaguars.
I'll take the Titans.
We just had a whole conversation about Urban Meyer for nothing.
Yeah.
Josh?
I'm taking the Titans.
All right. Next game, the New England Patriots coming off the loss to the Bucks, taking on the Houston Texans. Texans, after their first win, winning week 1, have looked horrific. They've been outscored, I think, 92-30 since then. Look like one of the worst teams in the league. The Patriots are 7.5-point favorites, and I know that Mac Jones looked pretty good against the Patriots, but let's please still calm down. Anointing these young kids is not doing them any favors. The Patriots are 7.5-point favorites on the road. I'm taking the Patriots because the Texans stink.
Tyrod Taylor?
Nope.
I'm taking the Patriots.
Okay, Josh?
Yeah, I'm taking the Patriots.
Josh, if I see your phone in the frame one more time, I'm going to shove your new iPhone up your ass. So you have to go back to the iPhone 12.
Okay.
I can't show you my phone in the frame because I'm on my phone.
Same. All right. Josh, are you taking the Patriots?
Yeah.
Okay. Next game. The Chicago Bears, Justin Fields' Chicago Bears taking on the Las Vegas Raiders. The Raiders coming off the loss to the Chargers. The Bears coming off the win over the Lions. The Raiders are 4.5-point favorites. You've seen some cracks in the Raiders the last couple of weeks. Had to come from behind against Miami. Almost made a comeback against the Chargers, but then fell apart. The Raiders are 4.5-point favorites, which is probably fair. I like the Raiders, but not super confidently. I think the Gruden implosion is imminent. The slow starts are going to catch up to you eventually. You've seen it with plenty of teams better than the Raiders before, where they start out slow, they come back and they win, but eventually it burns you. I don't know if it'll be this game because I still don't think much of the Bears, but they did look much better without Matt Nagy calling the plays. And even in the post game after, he was acting like, it wasn't a big deal that he wasn't calling plays, but they looked like a different offense. But give me the Raiders. Waiting for Darren Waller to have another blow up, like a huge game. It's been a little bit, so give me the Raiders there.
So I dropped the Saints defense last week or this week. I dropped them because they suck, and they lost to the Giants. I thought they were going to have a good defensive game.
Sure.
And I picked up the fucking Raiders, the Las Vegas Raiders, which is still weird to say, but I picked them up because I think they're going to have a big defensive game. And yeah, I'm going with the Raiders.
I'm also taking the Raiders.
Cool. All right, next game. This is a great game. The Cleveland Browns at the Los Angeles Chargers. I don't know if I don't think I'm going to say at the Los Angeles Chargers anymore because they're a good team and fans. There's no fans there because they don't have any fans until they actually win consistently. The Browns coming off the win over the Vikings, Chargers over the Raiders. Browns are actually the favorite on the road. Slight, it's a 0.5 point. I like the Browns here. I think that their defense will be able to stymie a lot of what Herbert's doing at the line. Contain Austin Eckler, who looks awesome. He's one of the most underrated offensive skill player in the league. But I like what the Browns are doing defensively, and I think it's going to be a low-scoring defensive game. And I think the Browns are a little bit more of an efficient team overall. And I do think right as of now, Brandon Staley, Jerry's still out. They're still a better coach team. I really like what Stefanski's doing in Cleveland. So give me the Browns.
I'm taking the Chargers on this one. I think Justin Herbert's going to have a fucking big game. I just have it I feel it in my bones.
My plums, deep in my plums.
Deep in my plums. I feel it.
All right, Chargers. Josh.
I'm taking the Browns.
All right, big NFC East matchup. And by big, I mean it's going to be a big win for the home team. The New York Football Giants taking on the Dallas Cowboys, who I really am thrilled for Dak Prescott. I'm thrilled for Grohow. He's been waiting a while to see this team and actually have a little bit of confidence in it, even if it's not entirely on Mike McCarthy. But what you're seeing from Kellen Moore calling plays is great. The way they're using both Pollard and Zeke is great. Cowboys 7.5-point favorites. I don't love that number because I think the Cowboys, a division game is always tough, but I do like the Cowboys to win this one, and it'll probably be by 7. I just wouldn't touch a 7.5. So give me the Cowboys at home to beat the Giants. I think Daniel Jones, he's been playing really well over the last 3 weeks. I think this will be the first game that he struggles a little bit, and it'll be due to the current defensive player of the year, Trevon Diggs. So give me the Cowboys.
Yeah, I'm taking the boys in this one too. The Cowboys are playing on another level than fucking the Saints. That's for sure.
that is true. Josh.
I am taking the Cowboys as well.
All right. Next game, the San Francisco 49ers coming off the loss to the Seattle Seahawks, taking on the Arizona Cardinals, the undefeated Arizona Cardinals, and maybe the MVP frontrunner and Kyler Murray, coming off the win over the Rams. The Cardinals are 4.5-point favorites at home. I don't know who's starting at quarterback. I did say that. I think it was last week when I said it, that soon it's going to be Trey Lance's team, and soon is now, I guess, because big surprise, Jimmy Garoppolo's hurt. And I really like the 49ers to give the Cardinals their first loss of the season. Coming off a divisional win over the Rams, taking away their undefeated record. This has all the makings of me to the letdown kind of trap game. I think trap games are really hard to say when it's in the division, but the 49ers have underperformed to this point, in my opinion. They're still waiting for both sides of the ball to really explode. I think Trey Lance is going to have one of those games where, like, oh, is he for real? And then, a week from now, he's going to have a come down game because he's a rookie. But in this game, I think the 49ers are going to do some really creative things offensively, giving them a full week of camp to try some things out. So I'm going to take the 49ers in the upset on the road.
Who are they playing?
Cardinals.
I like the 49ers in that also. Yeah, I like the 49ers in that.
Josh?
I think I'm going to stick with the Cardinals here.
All right. That's the first one. I think Josh and I only have two different, and I only have two different than Manfro so far. Three different. Okay. This is a good game on Sunday night. The Buffalo Bills coming off another shutout victory over the Houston Texans, taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs beating the Eagles. Andy Reid's return to Philadelphia. Huge game from Mahomes. Huge game from Tyreek Hill. The Chiefs are 3.5-point favorites at home, and it pains me to do this, but I'm going to take the Buffalo Bills. They're playing at a different level right now, and it has nothing to do with their offense, which is obviously put up some points, but a lot of that is skewed because they've struggled in the first half, and then second half they kind of figured out. Their defense has been carrying them. This is kind of the game where I think the Bills will get it together on both sides of the ball. Their offense, Josh Allen is not playing at the same level he was last year. He's playing good, not great, but the Chiefs' defense is the elixir for quarterbacks right now, and I don't know if a fix is coming. The 3.5-point number is crazy to me. If the Chiefs somehow win this game big, then that division, just give it to them now because they're going to run with it from there because the Bills' defense is really, really good. And if they can somehow, the Chiefs' defense contain the Bills overall and put up points on that defense, then just hand them the division. But I'm going to take the Bills in the upset on the road.
I'm taking Kansas City Chiefs, baby.
To get more value on your Mahomes card?
Yep, I want more value on that, man.
Very good. Josh?
Yeah, it's hard for me to think about picking against Mahomes at home, so I'm going to stick with the Chiefs here.
All right. And the Monday night game, this game has a lot of historical significance to it, but one team just came off their first win over the season. The other team handed a team their first loss of the season. The Indianapolis Colts coming off the win over my Dolphins, taking on the Baltimore Ravens, coming off the win over Taylor's Broncos. The Ravens are 7.5-point favorites at home, which is a tough number when they've played teams like the Lions so tight. But I like the Ravens here. The Wentz played pretty well last week. He overcame a lot. He was getting his ass kicked on two sprained ankles, played really well. But the Ravens are just a meaner team than the Colts, and I think they're going to run the ball down their throats. And another big game from Lamar Jackson. So give me the Ravens.
Yeah, I'm taking the Ravens on this one too. Colts are fucking shitbags.
Sure
if you
are.
lose to them, you fucking suck balls.
You don't have to tell me, buddy.
No, I'm taking the Ravens. They're too good.
I am going to take the Ravens as well.
All right. So there you have it. The only picks we had different this week is Josh and I took the Broncos. Manfro took the Steelers. I took the Saints. Josh and Manfro took Washington. Me and Josh took the Browns. Manfro took the Chargers. Manfro and I took the 49ers, and Josh took the Cardinals. And I'm the only one that took Buffalo, and you two guys took the Chiefs. So things could flip, but I don't think they will. I'm not letting go of first place. We'll be back next week with our regularly scheduled episode of You Watch, I Listen. A lot to cover. Manfro eating pickle candy will be happening as well for 30 seconds. I think we need some video of that for sure.
Yep.
Any last words, Michael?
Yeah, let's go Rangers.
Any last words, Josh?
Let's go Nets, I guess.
And my last words are, you could say all you want that the Nets, no matter what, will be the Knicks' little sister. Well, that's fine. We'll see who's better when it comes down to it. Just like the Devils are the Rangers' little sister, but they've been a much more successful team in your lifetime.
Well, when the Devils start selling out every game, then they could come knocking on my door.
That's fine. They won't sell out every game, but they're going to fill up a lot more trophy cases.
Yeah, that's fine.
And Ron Gilbert died.
Yeah.
Later,
I watched
guys.
Malice at the Palace today.
Sure. Bless you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.